Hello, Lehao, hola. I'm Dr. Jorge Emilio Nunez, here from Manchester. Nice to meet you all, and we are going to talk about how to do academic research, mainly online. Just in case you may have a problem, in particular now in situations in which you may not have access for different reasons like coronavirus, and you may not go to the library, there are ways to do academic research online. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to put my screens and I'm going to start the presentation for you. What we're going to talk about very briefly, what is to do academic research. Second, what we're going to use, I call sources or resources, and then how we are going to do that, which means search engines. We are going to very briefly introduce the library online search, and in cases in which you may be in a different country, let's say China, let's say in particular Hong Kong, and you may not have access to the online library, you may use Westlaw, LexisNexis, and there is even another option, Google Scholar. So I'll explain all this to you. What is to do research? Research is to find a particular set of sources in order to bring objective information about a particular question, a particular problem we may have. That's exactly what we are going to do. We'll have a question, for instance, your assessment. You will have to select a few resources or sources using search engines, mainly online because of the current situation. The question you have right now, I'm going to use one example. You have to assess the concept of supremacy or primacy in terms of the European Court of Justice, which means it's one of the main principles in EU law, according to, in particular, it says the European Court of Justice, which means we are asking you about, in particular, case law decided by this court. Again, think of the question, and depending on the question, the kind of sources we will use. The sources, this is academic research, so we need to find quality sources. The sources depend on the degree, yes? It may be books, academic and professional journals, websites, and so on. Try to avoid a newspaper, articles, and tabloids. I'll explain that later. Again, I'm conscious you may have problems with books and physical, academic, and professional journals. So this session will be mainly about online research. Before I introduce the search engines, you will have to offer a variety of sources, and you will have to comply with a particular style. In our case, OSCOLA, the Oxford referencing style. Once again, two things, variety of sources and OSCOLA referencing. For variety of sources, you may even go to the OSCOLA guide, and I'm going to show you later how to find this. And here we can see, on the one hand, we can see the particular format, yes? Let's say here, name, surname, the title, and so on, the publisher, and so on. And then you may find as well two columns, primary sources, secondary sources. What I'm trying to say, you will have sources, and here you can identify the variety of sources we want from you. From primary sources, we will ask you to include cases and legislation. If we talk about EU law, we want you to bring European Court of Justice cases and legislation, relevant treaty legislation, regulations, directives, and so on. Secondary sources, again, I'll show the complete list later, books, academic journal articles, blogs, and so on. Now, quality sources. You will have to use a set of search engines, Westlaw, LexisNexis, the library, Google Scholar, in order to get the online resources. Avoid online Wikipedia and the regular Google, unless, and I'll explain an exception later. In terms of Google only, Wikipedia, please avoid. And be careful with blogs and newspaper articles. And I'll explain now why. In order to publish a book, an academic journal articles, it may take 6 months to more than a year. Why? Because it needs a particular investigation in order to gather the information for the author to be able to write that article or that book, and then it will have to go through several steps, one of them peer revision, in order to be accepted, rejected, or rejected even with minor or major corrections. So it is quite a lengthy procedure. In terms of the newspaper articles, even a blog, it may take 30 minutes, an hour to write the complete article, and chances are it will never be checked by anybody else apart from the author. So the relevance and reliability of the information provided doesn't offer the same accuracy you may find in terms of academic research. That is why it's so important you use quality sources. Now, we're going to deal mainly with online research today. I'm going to very briefly introduce the library search and some other sources that you may find through Westlaw and LexisNexis. Let me change now to my websites. We have here the library. You may have access to this page. You may not have access to all the functions we have here in the UK, in Manchester. So I'm going to cover all the bases. Let's assume I'm here at the MMU library, and I'm going to go for Oscola. And I'm going to show you, can we see Oscola referencing? It will open a new tab, and you will have the Oscola style. You will have the very long PDF document, more than 50 pages, or you may have the one I was showing you, the quick reference guide. Can we see? The complete list of primary and secondary sources, and very briefly, it explains how the format needs to be done, in particular, check EU law, yes? And then in terms of secondary sources, that's the kind of variety we want. Books, a few encyclopedias, or a few journal articles. What do we mean by journal articles or online articles? Not newspaper articles. We mean academic journal articles. How you may find this? Once again, I'm going back here. You may go to the library search. And if you go to the library search, go for the search tool, library search tab, and you will find here a short video. It explains step by step how you may do online research. I'm not going to go into detail, that there is already a video. And I'm conscious, mainly for people that who don't live here in the UK, you may not have access to this. So just in case, again, if you want to use the online MMU library search, you have here how to. Now, databases. Go back again to the library, search tools, databases, and you should have here in alphabetical order all the databases we have access to. Let's assume I wanted LexisNexis. Here we go to L. Can we see the Lexis library? Or I may want Westlaw. I go for W, Westlaw here. And once again, I'm not going to cover this because each of these websites offer you a very clear explanation about how to do it. What I wanted to show you, Westlaw, it may ask you certain login details. Once again, I'm conscious you may not have access to these websites. It depends whether your university in particular is paying for the subscription. So once again, let me go back. So MMU library, you may have the main search here, or the database is here, LexisNexis Westlaw, to find books, academic journal articles, online resources, case law, and so on. What I'm going to cover now, you may be anywhere else in the world, not in England, not in Manchester. You may still have access to these sources and many more. The best, most accessible search engine for free you may find anywhere in the world is not the regular Google, it's Google Scholar. Your essay, as I read the question, is about EU primacy. So let's assume, and I've typed this before, I go for EU primacy. Let me show you something first. There are techniques. EU primacy, if I use the inverted commas before and after the expression, it will bring me results with that expression only. Can we see here 156 results? If I don't have the inverted commas, I will have many more results because the expression will not be exactly the same. It may contain EU, it may contain primacy, or a combination. Let me go back here. Can we see here the list of resources I have? It will be up to you to skim through these resources and see whether they are quality sources and whether you will have access or not. What do I mean? Let me press the first one. Can we see the first one? This article published by Cambridge University Press, a particular journal, Primacy of the EU. Can we see I have an abstract or an extract and I have the footnotes. I don't have access to the complete article. I'm at home, I'm not paying as an individual, it may be the institution paying. So I would need to check if I have the access, login through the institution. Can we see here, institutional login? If you don't have access, fine. If you don't have access, don't worry. Let's go back to my original search. Skim through the second source, Primary of EU Law in EU and National Law, Oxford Handbook of EU Law. Let me check this one. This one, yes. I have a preview access to chapter 8 of a particular publication. I have the author, I have the name of the chapter, yes, the title, sorry. And here, I have the chapter. Yes. So I may use this one. Let me scroll up and let's see. Yes, and I have access as well to the name of the book, authors, publisher, and every other detail I'm going to need in order to complete my referencing. Can we see it took me roughly 2 minutes to find this particular source, complete source online for free. If you still have problems with a particular article you may want to read and you don't find it for free or to download for free through Google Scholar, that's where you may go through the other, let me go here, or Scholar, Google, the regular one, EU Law, EU Primacy. And I'm going to show you how to find reliable sources. I'm using the regular EU Primacy. I'm going to have from Wikipedia to reputable sources. I'm not going to be able to use all of them in academic search. What I would recommend, go to Tools and Settings, in particular Settings, Advanced Search. Can we see? My search, EU Primacy, you may select the exact expressions or any other. I'm going simply to go to this one, File Type, PDF. Why PDF? Because I'm trying to find for free complete articles. So let me see the first one. I can see it's Oxford University Press, and I have an author. Let me see if this one is complete online. Yes, I have access to the complete article. Yes, it's quite probably a lengthy article. So I have a complete article about EU primacy. The authors, what I will need to do, I will need to double check online with the title and the authors, the actual publisher and the time in which it was published. Let me go back here. Can we see? It's definitely a reputable source. It's Oxford University Press, OUP. I'm used to doing online research. And it's been published in 2005. It's been cited by 36 authors. So try to find out the details in order to complete your referencing. Let me go back to our presentation now. And here we are. Can we see now? Google Scholar, to me, is the most accessible and easiest of the tools you will find. Try to avoid, once again, newspaper articles or tabloids, unless you want to refer to very current information like statistics. And yes, I think you can cover this. What I wanted to do today is to cover online research sources of a certain quality. So if you have any question, please feel free to send me an email. This is my email address. This is my private website. So feel free to ask me any question you want. Thank you very much. Ngoy, gracias. Let me stop here the share. And once again, if you do have any questions, feel free to contact me. Until the next time, thank you very much and all the best with your assessment. Again, even in extreme situations, you can do your academic research with quality sources from your house, and you may have access to many quality sources for free. So if you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email. Until the next one, bye-bye.